1, 2, get down.
Hello everyone, I'm Chris Wynn. Welcome to the ROKER RAPPORT podcast in association with the Sunlun Community Soup Kitchen, where this week we have something a little bit special. Today we have someone who went from part-time hod carrier, part-time footballer, to an international footballer, won the FA Cup and kept the new influx of foreign stars that arrived into the Premier League in the 90s firmly on their toes. Now he's added the occupation of actor, singer, presenter and producer to the ever-growing list. We are, of course, privileged to be joined by none other than Vinnie Jones. Welcome, Vinnie.
How you doing, fella?
I'm all right. How's it going?
I'm all right.
You're in a hotel in New York at the minute, so how's New York at the moment?
I am, mate. Yeah, I am. Eating me trail mix, yeah. Because I'm doing a new show called Law and Order, TV show called Law and Order. So I'm out here till about November. And as you know, that the camera puts on £10. So I'm on the trail mix at the moment because I'm on camera tonight.
I saw that you're with Chris Maloney, who used to do the Special Victims Unit, because I don't know why, but my missus was a fan of him years ago. But you must be pretty chuffed to get going. Yeah,
he's come back on, it's called Law and Order Organised Crime. They've done a season last year and it went through the roof. So this is season 2 and I've come in as an Albanian gangster, Albi Briscoe. So there's 5 gangs and I'm like head of one of them. So very hard to get work as an Englishman. So I've had to go with the accent. I've had to go Albanian to get a bit of work.
If you did a bit of accent on your announcement, I saw a bit of that. Have you been practicing?
Yeah. Well, funny enough, one of my best mates was when we played golf. I was in a golf cart with him every day. He's Albanian, so I used to take the piss out of him. So I thought, oh, you know what? When we got it through, I said, look, this character's not English. He's either from the Bronx or he's Albanian. I said, well, I can't do the American because I'd start going into Irish. And so I went with the Albanian and got the role. So it was great.
Do you have to concentrate so you don't slip a bit of deepest Hertfordshire in by mistake at a certain point?
Yeah, a little bit of Watford slips in there. A little bit of Hertfordshire creeps in, but it's quite hard. It's more difficult actually because you've got to remember to do the accent and the dialogue. So remember your lines. So you're either good at one or bad at the other. But I'm pretty shit at both, so it don't matter.
Well, it's funny because I mentioned it to my wife, and she said she'll be looking out for it because she reckons Special Victims Unit went downhill. So she's going to be watching.
Well,
this one.
I think the organised crime that I'm on picked it up a little bit last year. So let's hope it does well. But he's a lovely lad, Chris Maloney. Yeah, I've done most of my scenes with him, and good lad, one of us kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll come back on some of the other stuff you've been doing, like the Big Ugly and the rise of the Footsoldier, because you've been busy, to be fair. But
been really busy last couple of months. It's been nuts, really. You know.
Yeah, we'll try and squeeze in a bit of football for a bit, and then we'll come back to that. Because I want to have a talk to you about the good old days when VAR didn't capture 100% of what was going on the pitch and kind of pull you after every game. I want to just go a bit about your relationship with Sunlun a bit. You first came up against Sunlun in the late 80s.
I think it was with Leeds. I think we won 1-0. Yeah. I think it was 1-0, if I remember rightly. It was a really freezing cold night, which I love about Geordie land. You're Maccas, yeah. Well, I've got, my favourite Geordie is Gazza, of course. But so I think Mick Hartford's Sunderland, isn't he? Is he a Macca, Mickey Hartford? Yeah.
He is.
Anyway, it was freezing and we never had no tickets. We only had like a couple of players' tickets. So we only had 15 or 20 spectators there, like fans. And we came in and won 1-0. I always remember it was one of the defining moments of winning the league that year with Leeds, going there. And it was sleeting with snow and all that, and rain, as you are accustomed to up there, you lot.
Yeah.
But we came in and, it was like we went in the lion's den and pulled the tiger's tooth out, which was pretty apt, really, because it was, for me, I mean, some players shit themselves when they play in big crowds. But I loved going to Newcastle and Sunlun and places like that. But the bigger the crowd, the better it was, And I said, what are you worried about? I'm getting all the stick. You know what I mean? I used to get absolutely abused. I turned around one day, West Ham, I turned around, this geezer was actually foaming at the mouth, screaming at me. And I'm like, you know, what I do, mate. What was her name? I don't know. But no, I loved coming up north. I thought it was great. And loved it. Middlesbrough, Sunderland, Newcastle, of course, where I won in gold that time. That was great fun. I started having a crack with the crowd. But, you know, so I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the banter and all the rest of it. We did have a bit of racism. We'd go up north, Fash would get a bit of racism, but I used to fight his battles for him, you know. I used to say, don't get involved, I'll do it for you. You know, trying to stamp it out then, you know, it's a long ongoing battle, you know. Yeah. But I think the boys are getting there. They're you know, they've got to keep on top of it. You know, kids can't be brought up shouting at different, you know, race. Yeah. You know, it's any race, you know. And my first ever like centre page at Leeds was saying, you know, I don't want to play for racists on the terraces. Yeah. I want to play for Leeds fans. We're all Leeds fans. You know, we're black, white, blue, green, pink, whatever. And it was a big stepping stone for the club. I'm quite proud of that. You know, I thought, you know, obviously my best mate was Fash. And he actually texted me a couple of days ago. There was a picture from years and years ago. He goes, "It's the good old days." And I went, yeah. I said, you know, you kind of have and I've spoke about this about Gaza, you have a spiritual thing, you know, inside you. And I have that with Fash. I kind of have it with Fash sometimes, you know, and what's he up to, you know. And obviously I have it with Gaza as well, you know. But no, I enjoyed coming up there, but it was bloody freezing. I remember it was freezing cold. And I think it was a night game. It was a night game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Mel Sterling, I think, scored with a header, I think.
Zico, yeah. Zico scored, yeah.
But did you prefer playing at grounds like Roker Park? Was that kind of a better atmosphere to play in than, you know, some of the other stadiums? Yeah.
Who cares about, you know, we'll get Ipswich Saturday. Who cares? You know, you're going to Roker Park. I mean, that's the proper people, you know, you people up there, you die that you die for your team, you know what I mean? You supporters, and that's what I loved, you know what I mean? I was brought up on the terraces at Watford and Tottenham, you know, Tottenham being obviously in the old first division, Watford being in the fourth and third division. So I watched both sides of it. But the passion, you know, that you guys show, you know, on the terraces, you know, I always had people around me when I was watching, you know, we used to stand up then behind the Vicarage Road end at Watford, and you'd always hear people, oh, he ain't trying, oh, he ain't running. So when I got on the pitch, you know, and that, you know, I always had that ringing in my ear, you know, even if it's not going well, you still try your arse off, you know what I mean? For the fans, for the rest of the team, you know. But I watched the documentary, I loved it, about Sunlun. I thought that was awesome, really good. I really enjoyed that on Netflix, I think it was.
Yeah, it was. Well, like a sing-song in the pub, like anyone else, you know what it's like. But,
yeah. I mean, I'm 8.5. I ain't had a drink for about 8.5 years, but I used all my coupons up, as simple as that. But I used to love it, you know, go to Ireland and have the sing-song, go to races, go to football. You know, was having a sing-song one day, and then someone reminded me I got a game at 3 o'clock. Having a drink and a sing-song as well.
Well, I was going to say, against Sunderland for years, you always seem to come up against Paul Bracewell or Kevin Ball, and it was always a battle when they came up against you for Wimbledon or Leeds or Sheffield United or whoever it was.
Yeah, they were good lads, nice lads. You know, they, you know, Bally is Sunderland through and through. You know, I don't know if he's still there. I saw him on the telly the other. Is he still there?
Yeah,
I saw him on the side. He's not manager anymore, though, is he?
No.
No, he's kind of that. He's that journeyman that has, you know, he's got Sunderland tattooed on his heart, and he comes in and he's a relief manager, and then he comes up, you know, a little bit like Mick Hartford at Luton, to be fair, you know, and would clean the toilets out or go and pick the FA Cup up, you know. What, you know, Bally's like that. I had a lot of respect for Bally. He was just an honest, tough guy, you know, and same as Bracewell. Bracewell was probably the better player out of the three of us. Could pass it well, Bracewell. But yeah, just tough tackling lads, you know, not all the nonsense in the papers and all the crap. Used to go up there and you knew you'd have a battle. Bally didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit. Bracewell didn't give a shit. But definitely Bracewell was the better player. Didn't go to Everton or come from Everton or something.
Yeah, he came from Everton. He could hardly move by the time he came to us. His ankle was shot.
Well, that was, you know, things like that happen. We had it with Brian Marwood at Sheffield United. We were bottom of the league, and, you know, we hadn't won going into Christmas, and Bassett brought me and Brian Marwood, paid a lot of money from Arsenal, and he was knackered when he got to us. He didn't play a lot of games. So I think we went and got Glyn Hodges and we turned it round. I think if you look over, we had the lowest points ever at Christmas, and we turned it round. But them sort of things happen, you know. And I think with Bracewell, you know, I played against him, and he was just a good, honest player. Do you know what I mean? Same Miller. Yeah. Most of the lads were, you know. I mean, anyway, you know, I mean, McMahon had the ump because I smashed him in front of a billion people in the FA Cup final after he was gobbing off in the newspapers. But you know, we're all right now. I don't hold it. I don't hold any of that. You know, you smash them and away you go. You know.
But was there more characters back then, though? Because it doesn't seem to be. You don't have those characters, especially the midfielders like you had back then.
We can't touch no one, mate. I mean, I'd be on 3 life sentences. You know, you've only got to look at. I found a video. Someone sent me a video the other day of me tackling Cantona and then tackling Roy Keane in the same game. I'd have got 3 life sentences. Do you know what I mean? Christ, you know.
The VAR would have pulled you for what you did to Gascoigne, and that was just a laugh.
Well, it weren't a laugh at the time. I mean, at the time right. It was no. Honest to God, I know it's fantastic photo and all the rest of it, and we've had great laughs about it. But at the time, it was about winning that game. You know what I mean? And once I weren't mucking around when I grabbed him. I grabbed him for real, like you know, like giving him a right hander. It was the equivalent of that.
There you go. Then I've always had this impression it was just a good photo and a bit of a tickle. But there you go.
No, a lot of people were convinced it was set up. But I mean, I'd never spoke 2 words to him before that game, you know, because I hadn't even seen him or played against him. The lads, when they played up there, they came back from up there and they went, oh my God, they've got this young lad up there, Gascoigne. This was on the Monday morning at the training ground. I said, what happened? And they went, this kid's unbelievable. He's the new wonder kid. That was the players coming back. So then we played them in the league, a few weeks later or months later, we play them in the league, and it just so happened we then played them in the FA Cup a couple of weeks after that. So it was weird how it all happened, but they wanted me to do a man-to-man job on him, and you know, I did. I took it to the extreme.
Exactly. Well, I mean, just on Wimbledon, I mean, I remember seeing Wimbledon come to Roker Park in the Premier League in the mid-90s, and you absolutely battered us, played us off the park, won 3-1. I mean, there was only one team going to win it. It was, I think, Peter Reid on Premier Passion said it was like men against boys. But I mean, did you ever get frustrated that Wimbledon didn't get any credit for how they played? Because they were a good team.
Yeah, but you've only got to look at where we finished in the league every year to know it was a good team. But what happened was it was sour grapes. The good teams had to have excuses to lose to us. We were on, you know, one of their players, say like, you know, Liverpool, I think a statistic was something like John Barnes's bonuses was more to win the FA Cup was more than our whole team in '88. So you had these statistics, you know what I mean? You're playing against Brian Robson. I'm on £200 a week, and he was on 20 grand a week. Do you know what I mean? So they always had to have their excuses ready. I thought a lot of it was that. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're an owner of a club, be honest, you lose to Wimbledon at home. What's the manager? You can't go and show your face in the boardroom. They're going to go, what? You know, what happened there? You know, because it was always, they forgot we was in the same league as them for a reason, because we were good enough. It wasn't a cup tie.
I mean, talking to cup ties, you always seem to get the semi-finals at cups, and you always seem to have good cup runs every year. I mean, even the one-off games.
Yeah, we had some good cup runs. I mean, I'll tell you what, I do remember. Was it Davenport or the kid Byrne, wasn't it? The kid Byrne who scored, didn't he, the header, when I played for Chelsea.
Yeah, in the replay at Roker Park.
Armstrong scored from the corner. Yeah. But that was a nightmare, because I actually I swung a right-hander at Andy Townsend, because I said to him, have you got him? Because Townsend came up. I think the goalkeeper might have come up or something. So I said, have you got him? And he said, yeah. And I pointed to Armstrong. And if you watch it back, Andy you couldn't have got the Sun newspaper under his feet. He didn't jump, and Armstrong jumped and clipped it in. You know, I mean, how we never got to the final that year, I do not know. I think we came up there. Left. Oh, less than that, I think. I think there was less than that. I mean, I knocked one over. Where was that? I don't know. Anyway, I think Wisey scored. I knocked one back in. He scored. But anyway, I think we won 1-0 at Chelsea, and then we lost the 2-1. Davenport scored one, something like that. And then Armstrong. I mean, that, you know, I've done no research. I just remember them. I liked playing against Armstrong. He was a good lad.
Yeah, because John Byrne scored later on at your place at Stamford Bridge. John Byrne had
scored in nearly every round or something. I knew there was a bit of hype about
everything except the final. That That quarter-final against Chelsea still talked about today because it was one of the biggest nights, that kind of ROKER Park had in its last kind of 20 years. It was...
I can imagine.
Massive.
Yeah, no, it was big. And I don't know how we lost that game. I don't know how we never got to the final that year. But, that's what it is. And I still remember now saying to Townsend, screaming at him because it was so loud. I mean, I was only 4 foot from him, honestly, and you couldn't hear.
Yeah.
It was that loud. You couldn't hear each other from 4 foot away. I said, "You got him, Armstrong?" And he went, "Yeah." And as that happened, the ball was coming in. Townsend had "Oh, where is it? Oh, there he is." And by the time he reacted, Armstrong had jumped and flicked it in with his long old curly hair. And then that was that. Good night, nurse. So that was a quiet ride home. Okay, and that was the worst thing about playing you lot. In the travel up from London. Jeez.
Did you never stop off at Wetherby Chippy on the way back down?
I think we used to get the fish and chips on the coach ready for us, but I mean, long way to go when you've lost.
Yeah, I'd imagine. But I was looking that you had your crystal ball out on easyodds.com, putting your predictions in.
That's on my Instagram. I do that every week, and kind of like a tipster. Like, you remember in the old days, you'd ring 0898 or whatever it is, and you'd get all the tips, and then you could listen to the racing on the thing, and it was, like £1 a minute or something, and they'd keep you dragging on until the race came. So what I've done is on Easy Odds, I get quite a lot of the golf right, but I give out what I think for the week and the football and the golf and I had a good. I know you've probably got a lot of dog owners up there and a lot of dog track followers up there. I had a lovely win. I just got back into the dogs after a few years, brought my smoking prefix back. So I had a lovely winner with a dog called Smoking Bomber last weekend. Yeah, I'm getting back into the dogs a little bit more. I've got a couple of lads. Wally Downs, of course, who used to play for Wimbledon. Yeah. Me, him and a lad called John Ward. The three of us are kind of getting a little syndicate back together with Derek Knight down in Brighton and getting another handful of dogs going. But Easy Odds will give you all my predictions and, some good ones on there.
Well, I mean, I was just about to say, because one of them, you've said we're going to win League One this season. You said that we remain one of the giants of football, and this is the season we're going to get our mojo back.
Yeah, I think this is it. I think this is it for you, mate. I did say it. I said it last year, not like this year. Last year about Leeds, and they just missed out, and then they done it this year. So, look, I'm a favourite of these well-supported clubs being in the top flight. And, the club, your club. I mean, I'm only doing this for you because of my mate, who's a mate of yours, a mate of his. And I said, oh, come on. And I do like looking after the underdogs still. And just to let you know, I turned down Peter Crouch the other day on his podcast. So you're blessed.
Well, much appreciated.
No, but it is all about having, your team deserve to be up there. Football needs your team up there. With the support you've got, you do need to be up there and battling away. So, I think you'll get up there this year and then get better and better and better. And, we know how hard it is. I follow, I'm born and bred in Watford. So obviously I go to Watford games, but, I still, I've still got a massive attachment to Leeds. They're my go-to team, and then it drops off. I still like seeing how, I still root for Sheffield United. I still root for Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, me go-to team is Leeds. Obviously, I'm quite passionate about Leeds because I loved it up there, and they treated me so well. The Northerners, as I'd say, Northerner from Watford, Northford Watford gap is up there for me, and you all come under that kind of umbrella. But I just love the support, and I think it should be. The Sunlun supporters should be reunited and reconnected in the big time, It'd be great for everybody.
Yeah. Well, I'll hold you to that. So I'll get in touch if it doesn't come off. We'll push for time. So I just wanted to mention 3rd of September, Rise of the Footsoldier Origins. It's a prequel to the original film, and you filmed that during lockdown, which I can't imagine being too easy to sort.
Yeah, no, we were just coming out. Yeah, we're just coming out of lockdown, and they got all the special permissions, with the crew wearing masks and us wearing masks. And they're coming in. I looked it up, and as I say, you got to kind of remember where you come from, and the boys, everything they promised. Andy Loveday, the producer, everything he said he'd do, he done. And I respect that. And it's a British movie, and it's got a great following, with the lads, with the British lads. And I looked it up. They did one, then they'd done the Marbella one, and then what intrigued me about this, it was kind of my stories about a guy, Birmingham guy from called Bernard O'Mahony, and I think they might do after this one a spin-off about Bernard because you know Bernard was involved with them, and basically he says to him, you know, if you don't get away from him, you know, you're all going to be dead. And then he went back to Birmingham doing the Doors, Bernard, my character, and got out of it. And then that week they got shot. The Essex boys, you know, they got smashed to bits with the shotguns in the Range Rovers. So my character lived on, but I mean, I've seen it. It looks great. I'm really trying to get back for it. The premiere's Leicester Square on the 3rd of September. Comes out in theatres, and I really wanted to get back to it, but it's going to be difficult. I mean, it's not a big flight for me. It's just a matter of timing on Law and Order because it's such a big wheel. And you're just a small cog in it, really. And for it all to happen, to say, yeah, you can go for 3 or 4 days. Yeah, I mean, I flew once from Heathrow to LA and back the same day for a meeting. I mean, I ain't worried about 5 or 6 hour flight from New York to London. It's nothing, but it's just, you know, can I get that time off here? You know, there's a lot of loops to jump through, but I fingers crossed I will be at the premiere. But if not, you know, and they're all saying it's the best one. You know, if you see the trailer, quite violent, which I think, you know, the young lads like anyway, don't they?
On a final note, you released a book last year, and I kind of no doubt it's helped hundreds, if not thousands, of people kind of come to terms with, you know, events in their life.
Yeah,
and, a bit of an inspiration, really, because I mean, I've read it, and yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's lots of people grateful for you putting those thoughts on paper and kind of putting them out there like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the hardest things I've done. I mean, actually narrated it myself, so you can get it on audiobook. And I actually narrated it, but it took so long. You know, you'd do half an hour and you just busted up, and I couldn't get through it. So one day I'd do half an hour, another day I could do 3 hours. You know, but day after day, the grief was prolific. And the reason I wanted to do it is because there's a lot of guys out there that you know have got a lot of problems and mental health problems. And the trouble is, you see, the word mental health scares everyone. I'm not mental. I ain't this, you know. And it's the old stigma, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to say to lads, look, all right, okay, but let's think of another word. It's not mental health. We'll just say, you know, you need some grief care, or you need some trauma care. Do you see what I mean? You know, and a lot of guys, if they get divorced, or because of their wives, whatever it is, that can be absolute trauma for them. You know, the kids, where's the money come from? They got support, the family and the kids and themselves. Losing somebody, your mum, your dad, a best friend, and what do I do? You know, there's so much of it out there, and it's a matter of, you know, at the right time coming out with, you know, and expressing it. And I think the first way to do it, and which I did, was to go into a room one-on-one with somebody who is trained to do it within them 4 walls, and it don't go out of them 4 walls, and have a talk about it. And I mean, to be honest, this is kind of how I gave up drinking. I went to see him about, you know, drinking, anger issues and all the rest of it, and it came back, you know, it's the drinking, you know, it triggers off problems that I've got. And that's why I was so violent, you know what I mean? Or, you know, it's kind of, you know, mine was deep rooted. You know, my parents, you know, got divorced when I, you know, 11 or 12 and all that. I mean, it's a massive trauma which has never been dealt with. You know, you go through that trauma, and then the parents make it all about them. Last thing they make it about is the kids. You know, you got to fend for yourself when you're 11, 12 years old. I mean, you get locked up for it now, you know what I mean? So that is what it's called, Loving and Losing Tanya. But it's, you know, it's both about message. She always wanted us to do it. You know, and Kaylee, my daughter, contributed a lot. And we've put in there some of Tanya's journals of when she had the heart transplant and died and went to the other side, and they brought her back. You know, that's in there. That was hard to do in the audio as well. But, you know, it's just a matter of really common sense. You know, if you got a toothache, you go to the dentist. That's what I'm saying. You know, if you think there's something there, go and see somebody and have a chat with them. You know, not your neighbour, not your sister, not your mother. Go and see somebody professional. They're there to listen. There's some great groups out there, you know, that you can just Google and say, look, I think I've got a bit of a problem here, you know, whether it's even giving up smoking, you know, I mean, because that's another thing I found, you know, I was smoking probably 4 or 5 packs of cigars a day when I was going through the grief, you know, so me health, you know, and I was drinking 40 cups of tea and I was eating crap, you know, and all that's got to be assessed and worked out, you know. So, and there's people that help you. And that's all I'm saying, lads. I swear to God, I've been there and I've been through it, you know, from the divorce at an early age to, you know, the rows with the old man and, you know, the grief of losing your wife and everything. And what people don't know, I lost, you know, 3 months before that, I lost a granddaughter, you know. So it was the whole lot, you know, that came, and I had to go and do something about it. And there's people that will help you. And some people get it and they take time. It might be 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, but, you know, they'll help you to have better times than the worst times. You know, I mean, it's like, you know, it's not a matter of walking into a dark room and turning the light on. Sometimes it's on a dimmer switch, but I would encourage everybody to do it and not take the drastic measures of suicide and things like that.
100%. I know for a fact that your book has helped people, and I'm sure there's lots of grateful people out there.
I get thousands on Instagram. I get thousands and thousands of stuff, you know, and I'm still going through it, mate. It's only just 2 years. I mean, I don't know where, you know, my arse from my elbow some days, you know what I mean? But it's a matter of what I've been told now and learned and taught. I can kind of go, whoa, I'm going off track a little bit here, and I have to get on track a little bit more. Otherwise, you know, I mean, just a little thing like, you know, I'm bouncing. When I get up in the morning, I'm full blast until I go to bed and I'm knackered. You know, I was lying on the couch at 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the daytime, and like even when I played football, and it was the grief. You know, you just couldn't control it. It's like jet lag. It was like a chronic jet lag, and it was the grief. You know, unless you talk to people and try and understand it and that, and get that help. You know, you're not going to have, you know, not going to put electrodes all over your head and put you up to a machine and all that. They'll sit there and they'll chat to you. And these people are professional and they know what they're doing and they've been through it 1,000 times. And a lot of them have been through what you've been through. Do you know what I mean? And that's why they're in that position. A lot of them haven't just studied it at university. A lot of people have gone through it and then put themselves in the system. So you're talking about people with first-hand knowledge, you know, which I found was brilliant.
Yeah. Like I said, you've helped countless number of people, and I don't think you can put a kind of value on that. And
I'll keep doing it, and I'll keep doing it, and it gives me great pride when I read an Instagram or a Twitter, and they say, you know, thanks a lot. You know, I lost somebody, and you know, it's great. You chip away, and I do my little bit, and everybody else does theirs, and away we go. You know, it's just hard answering everybody sometimes. You know, there ain't time in the day. You know.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, on that note, it's been an absolute pleasure, Vinnie. Top man.
All right.
All the best with Law and Order. I hope it all goes well. And
I think it starts on first episode 13th of September, but I don't know if that'll be in England first. I think you trail behind America, don't we, over there? So, I'll get this done, and then I'll be back in Blighty for Christmas, probably November, December time. So, good luck. I'll be watching the results. I'll be watching your results. I'll be at Watford, and we'll see how we go. Good luck. Good luck to the fans.
Top man, Vinnie.
See you, mate.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Ta-da.